I'm photographer David duChemin, and this is Vision is Better, a sometimes weekly podcast about the craft and art of photography. Welcome here. Hey, welcome to episode 37 of Vision is Better. Today I want to talk to you about a very simple thing that will improve your photography dramatically. Now this assumes that you've already got to the point where you can focus your camera. It assumes that you've got to the point where you're starting to understand how to expose your photograph, you're shooting to the right. If you're using digital and you're using a histogram, you're understanding your priorities as far as composition and what you want to say with a photograph. And there comes this point where you sort of get to this plateau where you realize that you know what you want to do, and you see the scene in front of you and you know how you want to react to it visually, but you're spending way too much time screwing around with the buttons and dials on your cameras. And I actually had a completely different episode in mind, but I was diving this weekend. I spent some time with a friend of mine who reminded me of something that I used to tell students and haven't talked about on this episode, and that is the need to know your camera totally inside out. I can still go back and pick up my Pentax Spotmatic, the first SLR that I had, and I can, without looking at anything on the body, I can use the dials, the aperture, the shutter speed. I can adjust everything without looking, which allows me to look through the viewfinder, never take the camera away from my eye, never lose the moment, and still be making the adjustments that I need to. As these cameras develop, we get more and more buttons, and the tyranny of all of these buttons begins to take over. And so the suggestion that I make, and the suggestion that that my friend Paul made on the weekend, was you've got to sit down and you've got to play with your camera, if necessary, with your eyes closed, so much that you know the buttons and dials back to front, at least the ones that you use when you're actively photographing. We all have totally different styles. Some of us shoot manually, some of us shoot in aperture priority mode. However it is that you shoot, whatever your priorities are, you've got to understand where those dials are. So I shoot very simply, and it's one of the reasons I love my Fuji X series. I am not a drooling fanboy, as a comment on my blog recently suggested. I don't drool very much at all. But I love this camera not because it's a Fuji, or for that matter, any other reason other than the images it gives me are, for what I do, are excellent, and it gets out of the way as quickly as possible. I love the manual aperture rings. Now this happens to be a Leica lens on here, but my Fuji rings are the same. My aperture dial is here, where I used to know it from my film days. My shutter speed is where I used to know it. And I know how to adjust my, if I was shooting an aperture priority, I know where my exposure compensation is, and I know where my ISO is. I know how to change my focus points so that when this is up to my eye, I don't have to take it away to go, oh, where's that button? I forgot. How do I, gosh, I can't even remember. The moment is gone, baby. You've got to get this to the point where you know it inside out. And so my suggestion is you sit in front of the TV if you're watching TV, and you run through it. Where's my ISO? Okay, there it is. I'm going to change my ISO to 800. 1, 2, 3, 4 clicks, and that should be at 800. Oh, okay, I went the wrong direction. Do it again. Do it again. Put the camera to your face again without looking at the buttons, and run through your aperture, run through your shutter speed. If you need to adjust something for your way of shooting, know it inside and out. Close your eyes and feel how this works, because when you're in the field and you're photographing and the moment is going by and you're thinking about other things, you should be thinking about your selection of moment. You should be thinking about your composition. You should be thinking about a whole bunch of other things, and in some circumstances about your personal safety, etc. You should not be thinking, gosh, where is the button for that? If that's where you're at, and you're wanting to be faster, if you're wanting to, and fast isn't the point, being in the moment is the point, not losing the moment is the point. Another reason I love the Fujis is I can, in the viewfinder, as soon as I photographed it, I can see the histogram. I don't have to make the photograph, look at the histogram and go, oh boy, I need to bring it over a couple stops. In the viewfinder, without losing a beat, I can see histogram, oh my gosh, it's peaked in the wrong place. I can dial it up, I can dial it down. So my suggestion is, whatever the camera you have, if you're now at the point where you're starting to kind of lose moments because your craft is good, but your awareness of buttons and dials is maybe not where it needs to be. Sit down for a couple of evenings in front of the TV or not, close your eyes and work through them. Where is my shutter speed? Where is my ISO? If you're using autofocus and you need to change the focus points, where are they? And can you feel it? If you can't feel it, find a way to make those buttons stand out to yourself. I use a little product called Sugru, spelt S-U-G-R-U. I'll put it in the show notes. But basically, it's a plasticine kind of product that dries as a silicone base. So you can get it from Amazon. It's got different colors. On my Fujis, not this one because this one's new, but on my other Fujis, I've got one on my shutter button so I can feel it, and it actually gives me a little bit of a soft release kind of thing. But I've also placed it on a couple key buttons in the back because this one's better, but my old XT1s, very difficult to find some of those buttons. I built them up with a little bit of Sugru. I kind of scored them. In one case, I kind of added a little extra bump so I could feel not only where the buttons are, but which buttons I was using. And I found that really helpful. You could color code them if you need just a quick glance. Where's your red button? If it's something, for example, you're always going into drive mode and you can never remember which the drive mode is. Well, one, sit down with your eyes closed, go through that until you can remember it. But as a cheat, perhaps build up one of those buttons with a little bit of yellow Sugru or white Sugru or something so that I do this on my waterproof housing, which is where my learning curve is taking place right now. Right now, I have to sit down with my waterproof housing because I realized this weekend, gosh, I'm still fumbling. I don't remember which dial is shutter and which one's aperture. I need to sit down with the waterproof housing and I need to close my eyes because when it's dark, when you've got a mask on, when you've got things happening, you want to be able to access them really quickly. It's all about muscle memory. I don't have that muscle memory with my underwater housing, so I'm losing moments. If you're losing moments, pick up your camera, close your eyes, figure out where those things are, and I guarantee you will stop missing quite so many moments, and you'll have more energy and more time and attention to direct the more important things like your selection of moments and your composition. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll see you next time. Remember, gear is good, but vision's better.